There's like one actor. I've been getting tweets about like we call him whatever that guy type thing. It's like this guy's been, and it labels like he's been in 15 movies, 30 shows, and no one knows his name. It'll show his face, and you're like, I do know that guy. There's that guy that looks just like Too Short.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was in like the only thing that's coming to mind is like a Battleship maybe, but it was like the boats. I think Rihanna's in it.
Oh God, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a shit movie, but it's the only thing that's really sticking in my head. He's in a Marvel movie too. Fuck, but he looks just like Too Short. But Too Short looks good, man. He spit on that thing too. Not spit on that thing. He spit on the track.
Yeah, Too Short.
That's a couple of AOCs.
Yeah, I think what made Too Short. I think what made Too Short's career so prominent and why he's still relevant to this day is he never said no. He was kind of like Snoop Dogg. He did all these like small albums with all these up and coming Bay Area artists. He was never afraid to collab with up and new guys on that are coming up, and he just stayed relevant forever. Like,
he was the first. Like, he was probably the first out of here, right?
Out of the Bay.
That like repped Bay, because obviously Tupac's from here
too.
But I feel like he was before. Like his
might have been, yeah.
His first album was like '93.
Yeah.
And he was like the first, and still
Mac Dre though too, because he had that 90. He had like that.
But 95. No one on the East. But they didn't know Mac Dre.
No, they didn't know Mac Dre. No. Too Short was.
That's why I always will continue to show love to Drake, because he like shouted out Mac Dre. Where like Mac Dre didn't make it out of like a 200-mile radius.
Yeah, but he was huge.
But Too Short did, like Blow the Whistle and all that. Like made it so big.
Blow the Whistle for us was our turn down for what?
Yeah,
that Blow the Whistle.
Yeah. Or Tell Me When to Go.
And then college was like our college age was the what I just said.
Yeah. Or Tell Me When to Go.
Or Tell Me When to Go.
The E40. Because E40 is still putting out music. All right, sidetracks.
Yep.
Are we in yet?
Yeah, we've been in.
Oh, okay. All right.
Too Short started in 95.
This is LA culture, you know.
Was it 95?
Cali
85.
culture.
85, yeah.
He signed to a label.
Yeah, 85.
And we weren't even born
Too
yet.
Short. No, that's the year my sister was born. Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. He's OG. Yeah, he's got to be 60-something. He looks good. He looked good at halftime.
Yeah, he did. That's what
He was spitting. He was bouncing around.
Yeah.
He had to like edit the words he says, you know?
Yeah, because that song is like,
it's so bad.
He says the worst of the worst
biatch.
shit.
When he says biatch, like that's his like ad lib.
Yeah, literally.
He's not allowed to say it.
Like CT Fletcher's cussing.
I was going to say that's a nice segue into our film today. We're
Same
talking
era.
about 2015's CT Fletcher, My Magnificent Obsession, which is also from the Generation Iron folks. This was kind of like sort of, I want to say high CT, but it was like just before high CT.
Mm-hmm.
You know, before the heart transplant, before the health situation got.
He's definitely
much
peaking
more
on
complicated.
YouTube for this thing.
Yeah.
He's definitely peaking on YouTube for this thing. I was telling Subboss last week or whatever, because we were going to film it earlier this week, Monday or Tuesday, when I watched it, how much nostalgia it brought and how much it reminded me. Like shout out to CT, man. Like I've hung out with him a bunch of times, and I'm a big fan. Like as a human, I'm a big fan. This movie kind of reminds you of that. And although a lot of these things are kind of docudramas and they may be scripted, and obviously when there's a big ass camera on you, you're going to try to put your best personality out there or whatever, but like CT is that guy. Yeah, I'm a big fan of CT. We spent a lot of time like one-on-ones or like off cam or like lunches or whatever. Not a lot of time, but a good amount of time. And he's just always so kind. Like he is that guy. And they show him like meeting fans and being that guy. He is that guy.
Yeah.
Like he's that kind. He's that funny. Talk about charismatic. Throwing back to our last podcast, like you want a person to make a movie around, and they did it pretty good in this. They showed how charismatic he is, but you want to do like a docudrama on a guy. He's got the sauce. He's funny. He can talk to anybody. He can make anybody feel special. Like he's what do they say? Like chose the right guy to get famous type of thing.
Yeah.
It sounded like like a rough growing up. He probably beat the fuck out of some people, but the CT I met was the kindest man.
Yeah, I was just throwing up here a couple encounters that I had with him. We did a podcast with him about 9 years ago, and then I did another one about 7 years ago. The second one was actually in Iron Addicts after it opened. The framing device for this documentary is him trying to get
the gym open,
which does not happen, spoiler alert, in the course of this film.
Yeah, I think I visited. What was this movie? 2015.
2015.
So it's probably filmed 2014. Who knows? I think I visited him at the gym 2016 or so, and I still don't think it was open.
Wow.
He just let us in to work out when we filmed, but when I went, because I don't think I went on the 2017 trip, it still wasn't open. They were struggling. So we'd film in there or whatever. And
What a mess.
Yeah. Yeah, and their excuses seem so lame.
They say, oh, there are already 56 gyms.
Yeah.
So it's like, what?
Yeah, what about a free market? Like, what the fuck does that mean? I understand zoning, but it's a warehouse. And like you said, there's one across the street.
And it's and it's in a shitty neighborhood.
It's also, why do you give a fuck if they're paying the bills? You're getting tax revenue. Like, who cares?
Yeah,
it's not an illegal business.
They're talking to a random person probably at like a fucking walk-up window.
Oh.
You decide what the culture of the city is going to be?
Dude,
like, fuck you.
That shit drives me
Oh, you're making
nuts.
hamburgers? No, you can open a donut shop, not a hamburger shop. Like, what?
It's just some like, dude, yeah, that shit is crazy. And then like he said really good in the documentary, to them it's just like another blip on another day at the office, but for him it's his whole livelihood's on the line. It's just some fucking just some schmuck in a chair in the corner of a fucking building in the middle of LA, just like eating fucking Doritos, like on their phone, telling this like you can't open your gym.
To open or to work for like the business license department or business bureau or any of that, you should have had to run a business, like from start to finish.
Yeah.
Because like you just said, like that person doesn't know.
Even if he failed.
You're literally a check mark from opening or not. Yeah, even if it failed.
Yeah.
You just have to like try to run a gym
It should
or
be
try to
more-
run a business.
More like building inspectors. Those are usually like
contractors.
Contractors, yeah.
You have to know how to build a place before you can tell me not to build a place.
Yeah.
You know? Like
Yeah.
it makes no sense.
I didn't understand that. And obviously the laws are different here because we didn't. I mean, the process that we had to go through was being sure that we collected taxes.
Yeah,
you know?
and our place is like zoned fine. But so yeah, you'd assume his was too because it is a very similar building actually, just kind of industrial.
Yeah. It's
Didn't
Yeah,
one
that was-
mention that they saw like they were like, oh, we've seen your YouTube videos or we've seen your website, and he was like, I think they're kind of biased.
Oh, maybe
No, they were being
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah, maybe.
not prejudiced. I don't think it was like racially driven, but it was more like you're kind of crazy or wild and
Yeah,
we don't
maybe.
really like you.
you say
It was like
motherfucker
kind of
a
like
lot.
like almost like this. We don't really like you. You're
Yeah,
kind
it's
of scary.
possible. Yeah, I mean he is kind of scary until you talk to him. You know, but like he's got crazy tats. He has one tat just says addict.
Yeah.
Because the other one says iron. But if you only see one arm,
Yeah. True
Man,
enough. Yeah.
I forgot how much these videos can fire you up. Even when you think you've seen it all and you're older, you listen to him talk, you're like, fuck, man, I do need to do something right now.
no, he's the guy. Like he was one of the first reasons I think. Talk about like more recent stuff. I know Dean's into it, like Kai Cenat and them, like crossing the border of streamer to like just celebrity.
Yeah.
He was probably the first real dog in fitness because like Dwayne The Rock Johnson was a CT fan. Like Stone Cold, Goldberg, like those guys watched CT.
Yeah.
And his videos not only were big enough, but he was relatable enough. He was OG enough that you got different generations like watching him and understanding him. And who knows, like a lot of we've obviously had tons of crossover with wrestlers over the years because those guys are all meatheads.
Yeah.
But there's like legit celebrities. I wouldn't be surprised, like, yeah, if Thor and fucking Wolverine, all those motherfuckers probably saw a CT video because they're probably Googling workout shit while they're getting in shape for their stuff. And CT was the top motivational, entertaining, and like cool ones to watch.
I thought it was interesting they talked about how he was approached to be in that first YouTube video, but they didn't say the name of the guy at all.
They did Strength Wars. Strength Wars, yeah, I watched it back in the day too.
They did say
Or Strength Project. The Strength Project.
Strength Project was the name of the channel, but not the name of the guy. It was Arash, right?
Oh, maybe. Yeah,
that was my understanding.
But I don't think he like ever pushed his own name, right? He always went by like the Strength Project
Yeah, probably so.
because he had other cool videos too. He was like kind of like Jubilee for Strength. I don't know if you ever saw that, but he was kind of like an early Jubilee for Strength for those listening. And you would go find interesting people or like a little battle. And I think I don't know if I met him. I think I messaged him a couple times, but it was early days, and he'd go and find like really interesting kind of mini documentaries.
Yeah. I have to say that the hype stuff does not work on me, has never worked on me. It seems silly to me.
It usually doesn't for me, but for him, I don't know.
And I get it. I get why it impacts other people. It just doesn't have phased me at all. What got me about him is that he's really just a very warm person. He has what he puts off in, just conversation is not the same thing. And I think, though, that a lot of what he's saying in these hype videos is he's talking to himself.
Yeah, I mean, that's
he's
always
not
the
talking
case.
so much to you. He's talking to himself.
Yeah, if you look at like David Goggins, if you look at like anyone trying to be motivational that does it decently, whether it's for you or not, that has some success. Like I don't like David Goggins either, but you put it in the right situation at the right time, man, it'll probably hit you a little bit different. I've never been a David Goggins fan, but when we were doing the Weight Loss Island on the stream, all the boys on the last day, we had a water cut, so they're saunaing, and Agent, shout my boy's like David Goggins fan, so he has that cranking, and I can see in his face how much pain he's in from cutting water. And then David Goggins hit me a little different, you know.
Yeah.
like Agent's head's down, and he's very chatty, charismatic guy, but he's not talking. And then David Goggins is screaming in the background. Everyone in the room is kind of like awkward and quiet because they know he's in pain. Like then David Goggins kind of hits. But David Goggins is a perfect representative, right? Like he was fat, overweight, lazy, doing nothing, challenged himself to lose weight, go to Navy SEAL. Like he's talking to himself 10 years ago or whatever.
They had a very similar. They have. I don't know if you guys have read David Goggins' book.
I haven't.
But they have a very similar story, with like a little bit of like abuse going on.
Like his dad's situation.
Yeah, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I never read it.
The through line about the relationship with his dad and the difficulty with the relationship with his dad was interesting. I thought, and this is just me patting myself on the back, I thought that we did a better job with him telling that story on the first podcast that we did with him. And, you know, he talked about how his dad wanted him to be a preacher and that it was not something he wanted to do.
And I never talked about that.
And I said, dude, you are a preacher. You're just not in church.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think you're right. And it's like, no, I'm definitely right. It's like he's an evangelist for
getting better, doing
getting
something
better. Yeah.
The scene with his dad though does hit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, the look in his eyes.
Because you can just tell how unscripted it is.
Yeah, and how uncomfortable it is.
I remember seeing this the first time, and that scene sticking out in my head where he's just sitting there and like he wants to like roll his eyes or say something, but he's still like maybe has fear and then doesn't want the conflict and just shuts up. But you could see like you could almost see him be a kid again.
Yeah.
And say like, damn. And he's looking at his dad and his eyes are saying, my dad is full of shit.
Yeah, and he's kind of looking at production like,
yeah, like get me out of here.
Yeah, like, are we done? You got enough yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks just, it's almost too raw. That's like the most, talk about, you know, documentaries hitting a point, you know? Like
Yeah.
that's
that part was unsettling.
That's probably a 5 out of 5 documentary scene.
Yeah, that
you
was
can't really like
unsettling.
beat that.
I would say that Janae Kroc in Transformer
With their dad.
Yeah,
that's pretty big too. But her dad's like, I don't know. That one hits for sure. It does hit for sure. But this one's just so, because Janae's like still like talking with him a little bit, and they have like some relationship. Like this one just slaps me right in the face.
now you would go no contact with that parent.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking to him for a documentary.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like CT didn't, right?
The
Yeah.
part with the fucking dude, the part that really was fucking sad was the whole story about like the oatmeal on the. When we telling the oatmeal story about the oatmeal still on the stove.
Oh, with his mom.
Yeah.
She's dead on the ground.
Oh, that was rough. Yeah.
And then he goes into detail how she was just a
just cooking
slave
for
to
him.
him, and it was just like you just feel so fucking bad.
Yeah.
for
And he talks about how his dad called him to tell him that his mom wasn't getting up, and my wife's sitting there watching this, sort of watching it with me, sort of peripherally. She's like, 911. Did anyone call 911? Did anyone?
Yeah.
He's
It's
probably
not
more
clear.
concerned on why he how he's gonna eat.
Yeah, and it was interesting that the funeral, when you're talking about the funeral
Oh
scene,
my
it's like his
God.
dad is like talking about all the things he did,
Yeah.
not talking about
Yeah, of course.
his wife or all
Well,
the
it sounds like he
things that
punched
she-
him. I think he held back the real story there.
Oh, really? Did he punch him?
I don't know. He talks about like then they had to like pull us apart.
Yeah,
Like I'm
yeah.
like, oh, you probably punched your dad. You know, he just probably just didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
His dad seems like he maybe might have been like some kind of maybe sociopathic
Yeah, potentially.
personality disorder or something.
Potentially.
And a preacher at the same time. That's what.
Yeah, I mean power positions,
yeah.
right? Like a lot of times those people with those type of personalities, whether it's a full disorder or just likeliness, will try to put themselves in a power position. And what's like a very normal power position in the 60s, 70s, and 80s is probably owning a church.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know?
I mean, that's still a power position.
It is.
today.
But back then, you know, like,
I mean,
You don't got to own it. Be a priest too. You know what I mean?
yeah.
yeah, dude, that shit was heavy duty though.
Yeah, it was wild.
There was a lot. That was heavy duty. You definitely just have this very obvious dislike for this person in his life, and you feel sorry for him.
I would say that's the one thing about the movie, and obviously it was a lot of truth, so you can't like really critique it per se, but a lot of it was negative. You know, where like CT is so positive. Like a memory I have that's really strong is I think we're in between takes or in between videos, or maybe we were just even working out, you know, because a lot of times we do podcasts and then film 6 videos over like 3-4 days, and there's a lot of downtime, and sometimes we would just work out and we weren't filming or whatever, you know. And I remember being in the gym, it was just me and CT, I think, maybe people were there peripherally, but we were just about to like do a film or do the set or something, and I turned on like Bill Withers, which I grew up on through my mom and everything, and I don't even think we had spoken about it yet. But I just turned on the music because I wanted to fucking listen to it, and I turn around the corner, he's fucking dancing and singing, like just the coolest vibe ever, and we start dancing and singing and just having a good time. Like they didn't show that side of CT as much. They showed a little bit with his cars, you know, and his kids and his grandkids. They obviously
showed him, it showed him in him
in good light for sure,
yeah.
but like just not like how cheery he actually is, you know, like with his kids and his grandkids, he's obviously, they showed a kind heart and they showed how fun he is, but he's just so fun, like he's just so warm. He's like the grandpa everybody wanted.
Mike Rashid is in this, and that's somebody that he has a longer term relationship with. I don't know what the current state of it is after the whole Iron Addicts Miami situation.
They're trying to open another gym.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago, but it was after this, however.
Oh, got it.
And Luke Hawks is a
and Bulo's in there, like the original Iron Addicts, Bulo, because they were all part of Liz Friel and them, because there was all out of shout out to Liz, R.I.P., was like all Long Beach Metroflex, and that's where the USPA kind of like maybe not get their roots, but they got a big culture there in powerlifting in this era. And so Bulo, Mike Rashid, CT obviously is like, although the internet didn't really know, I feel like, because he talked about bench press records, but the internet just saw like CT, but he's a power lifter. You know, like he's probably the most famous powerlifter ever, really, now that we think about it.
Where did he win worlds at?
I think it was single ply, like some natty thing. Like, you know, like powerlifting has some billion federations.
Yeah.
So
it was 3 bench press championships.
Yeah, and a couple curls.
And 3 curls.
Yeah, and I think that some of the curls stand forever. And so there's certain feds that only did curls, and certain feds had that. So it was kind of like a side niche thing.
20s are nothing. The belts. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, it's so good.
20s are nothing. That's hilarious.
But but Bulo and them were all in the USPA circuit. So like I talk to those guys all the time. Bulo's like the Asian Filipino guy that's training with them, and then Mike, obviously we had on the podcast. I've known Mike Rashid for a long time too. And he powerlifted for a while too, despite being a pro bodybuilder.
Right.
So like I think the culture at Long Beach, and I went to that gym once. Wasn't a huge fan, but different story for a different day. It was cool because it was powerlifting. It was like strength based. Again, talk about like the Branch Warrens, like the gritty old school training. And I think that alone was kind of motivational in those senses. But yeah, he did single ply. He benched like probably close to 7. Like he was fucking strong. You know, if you compare him to a West Side or whatever, natty or not, you know, natty is the claim. I have no clue. And the more I look at it, you know, to be completely unbiased, it is possible. He didn't look that crazy because he was so bloated. And not to say that he couldn't have taken something. He definitely could have. But I've seen crazier physiques also natty, you know. So, you know, an honest opinion, despite my bias of liking CT, I don't know if it's 50-50, but it's possible he's natty.
Yeah, I mean, he's also he's not like the biggest person ever, right?
No, probably 5'9", 5'10".
Okay, so I mean,
5'9" when I met him, he might have been 5'10" back in the day, and probably. Yeah, he might have only been like 260, 270, 280 when he was thick. When I met him,
he was fucking huge in those throwback photos.
But he's so bloated, you know.
Yeah,
like it's not like he's lean. And then when we met him, we met him, what, maybe 200 pounds? Because he was still jacked, but normal jacked. You know, he probably had a little bit of abs. And again, I met him both pre-surgery, post-surgery. Although he had multiple surgeries. Last time I probably saw him was 2018, 2019 in Texas. I think I saw him. And he had lost a little weight for sure. Like he not training as hard.
He didn't look like you couldn't achieve that just by a crazy diet.
Yeah,
you know
and genetics, right? Like he had big arms. Like his arms were way bigger than me, but other than that, he wasn't that much bigger than me.
Yeah,
I never take nothing.
His sons were not small.
Yeah, Samson's a big fuck, bro. Samson's benching like 450, 500 now too. You know.
How come his one son that ran the gym looked exactly like Ronnie Coleman's son that ran the gym?
Same
you know what
kid.
I mean? They both wear the shitty kind of
He
hat.
actually just got hired for the documentary.
I was like, is this the same guy? Am I watching the right documentary? Wait, I was like,
that guy.
Then I started getting confused. I'm like,
what am I watching?
Was I?
Did I fall asleep?
Yeah.
Where was Ronnie
That part was
born?
funny.
Did they ever cover that? Ronnie?
thought he was born in New Jersey. But I'm not sure.
Because he grew up
in Texas.
But CT was born and raised in like Arkansas. Maybe they're fucking cousins.
Well, I thought he was.
Maybe
from
they do have the
Compton.
same son.
I thought he was from Compton.
Yeah, but he was born in Arkansas.
Oh, got it. Okay, but he moved there pretty young, right?
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, you know,
There was
maybe
the story when he told you to buy a gun in case his dad hit him again, he was going to murder him.
insane. He said he did buy it.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, it was just real.
Yeah,
Just fucking real.
yeah. I was
like
like,
he
I
didn't
bought a
filter
gun,
that
and
one.
If you hit me again, that would be the last time. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. At least you know he's. Yeah. I mean,
I believed him.
That's why this documentary is so amazing. Not, and I've mentioned it a couple times, but as we're turning into a documentary podcast, like the recipe is like good storytelling. Then you need like the filmographer and the video and the guy to direct the bitch. But then you need the character. And what do you need from a character? You need something insanely interesting happening to them, or an insanely transparent, interesting person. And CT is very interesting, and he's not afraid to tell the truth. He's not afraid to tell, I hate the term, his truth. Like he'll just say whatever actually happened. And so there's like a beauty to that. And that's what comes out in these depths of especially the father relationship. Again, like we have the ultimate goal, open the gym. We have a background story of telling who CT is, what he's done, his family and all that, which is great. You know, the videos with his grandkids and his ex-wife who's his best friend, like all that's really cool. And then obviously the dark story of his parental and dad in particular.
Quick correction: Ronnie Coleman born in
Louisiana.
Monroe,
That's what I'm
Louisiana.
saying, bro. The South.
Oh, that makes more sense now because of his kind of his accent.
Yeah, and how he moves.
In the early days,
because I said he talks like Charles Barkley, and Charles Barkley and all them are like Arkansas,
yeah.
Alabama, Louisiana.
Yeah, I think that the relationship with the ex-wife, with the one ex-wife, is a definition of it's complicated.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like they're still together, kinda.
How many kids does he have floating around out there? Like 12?
No, like 6.
no.
Not as bad as
He's got 4. He's got 3 from before.
Yeah,
she
yeah.
had his
They each
second
had
wife
3.
had
I met
3,
them all. I met them all.
and then
Yeah.
and then Samson is.
Yeah, they're all. Yeah, the Samson's from the newer wife. His daughter, who they mentioned a lot, who's running the whole show, is really kind. And basically his manager. She was everywhere. I met her multiple times.
Yeah, I met
Insanely
her.
kind.
And I think I met one of the sons.
Yeah, and I met the other 2. Yeah, probably Samson.
Was
Samson
that
went
the
to all
one
the
that was
shows.
on when they're sitting on like the front porch?
Yeah,
together?
yeah. She's
Okay.
basically like,
I couldn't remember if that was like a daughter of his.
that was his daughter, and she basically ran the business. It felt
Got it.
like she was always grinding, and at all the expos, and she was a hustler.
Yeah, she ran all of his social media.
Yeah.
I before I ever knew who he was, I got added by his Facebook profile, which had to probably be her. I'd never heard of him, and then shortly thereafter, I did.
So wait, what's the timeline with like the YouTube pop and this?
Probably 2012, 2013. He probably tried to he kind of just exploded. There was no not that he didn't grind, because it is like the typical saying, right? He grinded the last 30 years to get the success today. It was probably 2012.
Yeah. So this was like kind of still on the. How did his supplement do? Are they still around?
Well, here's the thing. Like, he was with Isotori when this was made, and then I think partly because of the situation with not being able to open the gym, he ended up having his own supplement line for a while, and then he got ripped off in that process. There was a whole video about how
They scammed him.
Yeah, they scammed him, and then I think maybe another one came around that was not a scam. I don't know what the current state is.
Isotori was really short-lived too. They had like 2 years of run. That was it.
Yeah.
They signed a bunch of YouTubers, probably overexpanded, and then I haven't heard about them since. Like they had Brian Shaw for a bit.
Yeah, are they still?
Probably something.
I
but
think there's still something going on.
not of like relevance, you know.
Not in the top.
No, 30 at this point.
No. But I don't know.
You got a tear coming down. Everything.
I was just thinking about the story.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of emotional content in this sucker.
Yeah,
that
probably more than any others.
More than any of the others, and part of it is that's some water for Mike here so he doesn't cough through the rest of the show.
Going hard on those wheat circles.
Bro, I'm on fucking like 1,700 calories, you know. So like,
I was wondering. I guess the cut's over with that.
No,
salt,
no way.
Card bomb.
No, you just fucking track them.
Yeah, you're just not gonna. Yeah, say you're only eating chicken tonight.
That's all I eat every day, and so like I had to eat them because I'm starting to wear away a little bit. I gotta get some. I haven't eaten since last night, since like 5.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Anyway, emotional content, and part of it is that he's accessible, emotionally accessible.
Yeah.
Some of these other folks are so closed off that there's the camera doesn't have anything to work with.
I think that goes back to my idea of like the best fitness documentary ever would be on YouTubers, because YouTubers come up being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the original ones.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, he is just a YouTuber. He's not, like, a bodybuilder that's, like, thinks he has to act a certain way. And even Jay Cutler says it in the other film, Generation Iron, which we covered last week. He says, oh, you have to be, like, a role model for a lot of people. You have to be on all the time saying the right things, doing the right things. Because they step into that thinking they have to act like Michael Jordan acted. Right, that they can't have flaws, and because back then it was like that. That's why the steroid thing, they covered it a little bit in that movie, but the steroid thing was such a big thing because these sponsors wanted you to act like the supplement did it all.
Yeah,
and you're not allowed to say, right, so you have to act perfect. Where CT came up just being CT. He came up being raw. He came being up authentic, and all YouTubers are like that. You do a Barquan interview versus like a whoever's popular in fitness interview, Michael Hearn even. You're gonna get very different PR type answers.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
Bart's telling you his skeletons. His skeletons are on the internet. You know everything that fucked up motherfucker's ever done. You know, where Michael Hearn, squeaky clean. You know, he's eating eggs and getting jacked. Like, so I think like CT makes the best documentary and a good content creator and a good role model because he's honest.
Yeah. No, he's relatable.
And that's why that's why it's sad, and that's why there's emotion, and that's why there's depth. You can't have sadness, emotion, and depth when you're getting like a PR ass answer.
Yeah, you're not going to do this documentary with Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, dude, that would be the worst.
Fucking generic bullshit.
They're going to do one if they haven't already done one. It's going to be terrible.
Yeah, it's going to be awful.
Because he's going to have no real honesty. Like, I think him and his dad actually had a really tumultuous relationship. He's going to lie about
and
it.
He'll probably never talk about it.
No, he'll lie. He'll be like, yeah, my dad was rough on me, but I loved him.
Yeah.
You know? CT's talking about shooting his dad in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, that shit was unsettling, like I said earlier. But yeah, I really liked. You see this like unglamorous lifestyle that these guys actually, like, most of them live, right? Like, you look at his porch and like, it looks like he's living in a pretty rough house.
Signal Hill's like whatever.
I mean, like, everything's all rusted up. It wasn't like the nicest looking place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Signal Hill's fine.
It's no grass. Great. It was all dirt and like weeds right out front, and you're like, he's got all of his money tied up in this thing.
Yep. And it's still LA, so shit's hell expensive. Even if he made some cash on YouTube, he's not going to go buy a mansion, right? Like, a mansion's $4 million.
But like, in your eyes, though, when you're watching those YouTube videos, you think that this guy is like a fucking gazillionaire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
like,
he probably did come out great enough to live, but then like that might be his family home or something. Are you going to sell it and then you can't really upgrade? We're not making Tom Cruise money on YouTube, you know? Like, he's probably made good money. But it's so different, and it's where he comes from and loves, probably. Like, Signal Hill's, I think, a little northeast of, like, Compton and that. Maybe west. It's either northwest or southwest of, like, Compton and that. So, like...
There was that one weird little shot of him getting out of bed. It's like, dude, is it really that rough for you getting out of bed?
It might be, bro, powerlifting.
Remember, he was getting up and he's like, his eyes were all like fucked up,
grizzled up, dude.
He was just like, oh man. I was like, is he acting? Did they tell him to like really church this up, or is he like?
He's probably grizzled.
This bad.
It's probably grizzled.
I gotta look at where Signal Hill actually is, because I'm where I think it is.
I know it's near Long Beach.
Yeah, it's like I went to Long Beach State for a year. Yeah, LBC. Yeah.
Yeah, it's north of Long Beach, which I think is southwest of. Scroll out a little bit. Is that Gardenia? No, that's Gardens Casino, Lakewood, Knott's. Oh, maybe I was right originally. Maybe this southeast of
Compton.
Yeah, right there.
Is up here. Yeah.
Southeast is Compton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's like terrible, but it's not, Beverly Hills.
No, I think I like I said, I lived there for a while, going to Long Beach State. I think I went to Signal Hill one time. Yeah. For something, I don't remember what it was, but
good old Gardenia. CrossFit Games.
Yeah, I remember having to go into Compton like to sometimes go to a gas station during the games. You're just like, oh shit. Yeah. It felt different. Yeah. Especially us getting out with our highlighter fucking shoes on.
Yeah, it ain't Disneyland.
No.
This is where I lived. I was in Seal Beach, which was great. Just a few blocks from the beach. It was fun.
Yeah,
just
it looks lovely.
Right off PCH. Yeah. Do we have any other salient points about this film?
I Yeah, it was long, but it didn't have much like segues, or didn't have very many like side quests. It
Yeah,
was
or like
kinda
dead points.
Here we're going. We're telling the story about the gym, and we're telling the story about the dad, and we're going a little bit into the past.
Yeah, and maybe I'm biased again because I do like CT and know him personally, but probably in the top of what we've covered documentary wise, besides Pumping Iron again to me, because it does like it's cool to cover like a topic, like a Generation Iron, but it's cooler to tell like a real person's story.
Yeah.
And this tells like a real story. And yeah, I guess you never get the win at the end, really.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
That's the disappointing part.
Yeah.
And I would say that dealing with him and we're talking to him in person, like he brings so much in the moment that it's almost like you pull back because he's putting out more than maybe you're ready to take in.
Yeah, you don't really going into this. I had no idea where this was gonna take this kind of turn.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was gonna be this deep. I thought it was gonna be like, oh fucking, you're a pussy motherfucker.
Yeah, because his
like,
YouTube is more like that. His YouTube is very motivational, and I'm sure he has some vlogs or something where he opens up a little bit. But I only knew that side of him, from hanging out with them. More of his YouTube content is obviously on the positive side, which you don't blame him.
That's what's gonna make him money.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, no one wants to go on YouTube and just bitch all day about how bad your life is.
No.
That's why this documentary is cool again, because you're seeing behind the scenes of a guy who's already authentic, and hearing more of like the normal struggles of like trying to make a business in 2015.
And it was really, you really see like, man, like how many people that guys like him reach, right?
Yeah.
Like, these people are like, he's like saving lives out there for some people.
His lines were the biggest for a very long time at Expos doing the circuit. Him and probably DLB were like the biggest lines for a good 4, 5, 6 years.
You called it. David Goggins is just a fraud. He just ripped off fucking CT Fletcher.
He is a wannabe
like
CT.
He's the running CT Fletcher now.
He is the running CT.
I doesn't even think about that.
Yep.
Fucker.
Bastard.
It's funny. Another thing too is it sort of makes you miss this period of time.
No, it's very nostalgic. I told Sebas that too.
Oh,
it's very nostalgic.
Super nostalgic.
Because it was like, obviously it's where we came from and where we were all built up, but biased or not, I do think it was one of the best parts of the online fitness community because it was so tight. Everybody knew everybody.
Yeah.
Where now, bro, there's so many influencers. Nobody knows nobody. No one cares. They only meet each other for pictures and a collab. Like back then, you actually knew everybody, and you didn't love everyone, but you knew them all. And you all go work out. You all high five. I remember every expo, I'd make sure to go to CT's booth, give him a hug, say what's up. It was just like the norm. It's just I checked in with them every three months because we were at a different expo every 3 months. And so yeah, it was just a cool time. And then we wherever you were, Columbus or whatever, you end up at a gym catching a workout or dinner, and they're 3 tables over having steak too. Like it was just always like that. And that's just it's part of something you'll never get back because the industry's too big now. Which, for better or for worse, there's good parts of it too. But
it's like I wouldn't even say it's like bigger. It's just faster.
It's faster,
yeah.
and it's like broader.
It's not consistent anymore. It's not the same group. You go to an event, and it's a whole new group of people that are all trying to make a quick buck.
That's the thing. I was gonna say the motives.
Yeah.
You just don't know everyone's motives. Then we're like CT, like he had 1 million followers, or probably 600,000 followers by the time I met him. And him and his daughter never once thought like I'm here to leech. Like I'm just saying what's up because I watched his content. I think he's cool, and like that's that.
Yeah.
Where now, bro, like if I'm in his position, someone's coming to me at an expo, I'm raising an eyebrow like, what do you want, motherfucker?
Yeah. What are you trying to get out of me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Well, we all experienced the full gamut of people in the influencing space. People who like CT who are just like open and like a little bit amazed that they have the popularity that they have, and they're not assuming or they're not acting entitled or whatever. And then the other end of the spectrum where they're super entitled, they're not actually interested in you, it's all fake, they're just trying to get what they can get from you and move on.
Yeah, the entitlement's probably way higher now just because the expectation's higher. You get this amount of followers, you get this amount of money, you get the Lambo, like there's a path. Where back then we were all just trailblazing our own trails simultaneous.
Yeah, I think that's where like the Sam Solik effect comes into play. I think people like him.
He seems grounded.
They see the what they knew and loved from early days of like fitness industry, YouTube, of like these guys in their cars like going to the gym Like it's very nostalgic.
Or even shout out Lead Beef Patty. You know, there are some real OG kind of authentic creators that kill it now, but have an old school feel.
Yeah.
My boy JPG. Like the industry's not totally shit.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm not
like,
super keen on everybody, but
No. As a whole, it's trash. But I've met some of them personal that are still at
Yeah,
the
they're
top
still
and still
cool.
grounded. Yeah, JP's a great guy. Lean Beef does very like normal ass shit like we are. She's a normal human, you know.
yeah, she's in that. She fits in
Yeah.
that same
Yeah, she
window as
just,
like a
like,
Sam Solik.
Lives
right?
in her house with her pig.
Yeah, and just like and just trains hard and just like
She's herself.
keeps it simple.
Yeah, the truth is you're just yourself. Where everyone else is trying to replicate who you think the internet wants you to be.
It's so crazy too. Yeah, it's just you just
tough
don't.
go.
You just don't under. It's so funny when you come in with the wrong intentions. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to phrase. I'm trying to figure.
You'll
this-
definitely succeed.
You know, it's just like you just like
you can win.
it just shows you that there's just like if you just it's not about trying to make money, right? Because like you look at like the Sams and the Leans, like there's no if you ever tried to do that, you would not make a fucking cent.
Yeah,
and
you
you
stand
would
out
fail
shitty.
miserably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the authenticity that they bring of themselves is what's interesting.
Yeah, it's
you can't
elevated.
fabricate that.
Right. Even though the middle pack are all duplicates.
Yeah.
The ones that stand out tend not to be.
Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
and it's just weird. You wonder to yourself like, how did this turn into this? I guess, but and then you look at it and you pay attention like, oh, these people are cool.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the answer.
Yeah, and some of it is luck of timing and all that, but they're cool people. Yeah, JP has a lot of knowledge to share. Lean Beef's so authentic to
They're
herself.
not using
Yeah.
weird. They're not using fancy equipment.
Yeah,
they're
buying
not using,
ads or some shit.
They're not covering themselves in logos and
No.
you know what I mean. They're just like they're not changing their style. They're just kind of the same old bullshit. And
No.
I don't know. It's interesting.
For sure. All right. It's time to rate this thing. I think that the only way that I can rate this thing is with motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have had a difficult week from an administrative and logistical standpoint, and I don't think I touched in the whole week the number of motherfuckers that CT said in maybe 10 minutes at the beginning of this documentary.
Yeah, it became him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of always was from the first couple videos. I would we did Pumping Iron at one point, right?
Yeah, we did.
I don't remember what I rated it. Probably high. I assume 4.5.
I think we all rated it pretty high.
Yeah, we did.
In my head, probably a 4.5-ish. I'll probably give this like a 4.2. Yeah, solid 4.2. I think if you don't know CT, go watch some CT YouTube videos and then watch this. If you do know CT videos or content, you should probably just watch this. It's a good watch if you like documentaries. I really do. I've always liked documentaries even before we started covering them. I've always been a documentary guy. And honestly, not that much of a fitness documentary guy. I would always watch them because that's what I do, and they're rare to come about. So you always dug in, the Super Size Me's and the whatever the fucks. I'd always be interested, and they always disappoint. But the story here, the authenticity, and then, obviously the nostalgia for me is a big part. But, I'd say like a good 4.2.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give this probably like a 4. It felt like a real documentary.
Yeah.
It felt like a real story
Yeah.
that had depth, that had emotion, that also had like a good, just kind of good structure. I've always been a CT fan. I remember like watching those videos, motivational videos. I watched this actually while I was working out.
Oh, dope.
So it was like a nice little background video. Like it made me like, man, I need to get a fucking TV in my garage so I can just have these kind of like documentaries on and shit while I'm training. Because like that's like, man, you really work hard when you watch these things. Like,
Yeah.
Even with the other ones in the past that we do, like we've been doing so many of these lately. Like I've been just watching them when I'm working out,
Yeah.
kind of piecing them together. Because it's hard to just like sit down, obviously, with my family life and just like watch a bodybuilding documentary. When the TV's on, it's either for the kids or me and my wife are watching something together, and she ain't watching fucking CT Fletcher.
My wife did, but God bless her, she was reading a book at the same time. So
Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I was taken back by it. I was surprised by it, which is rare with these. So yeah, I think it was good. I think it's really a good story.
Sebas, you saw most of it?
Yeah, I would give it like a 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like.
No, you really liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you,
no, I really liked it.
you would love meeting CT in person. I guarantee.
He
you.
seems like a nice.
Did you watch his YouTube videos growing up at all?
No,
Never.
never.
Yeah, just before
That's
your
two.
era.
Yeah,
probably.
that's
Yeah.
two.
Yeah. Well, he
I'll
watched
definitely go
me.
watch them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got a ton of content.
Yeah, I'll definitely go
You seen
watch
that
them.
Hulk smash video? Have you ever seen
That
that
was the one. Like
Yeah.
4, 5, 4, warm up.
Yeah.
We always used to yell at that. Yeah. 454 warm up.
I've heard that.
Yeah, that's that. That's CT. That's CT.
He's hilarious.
No, he is.
Unintentionally.
No, he's a wrestler. He's a real life wrestler. Like he has all the gimmicks. He has all the memes. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, I would give this a solid 4. Maybe 4.2. Quite good. Again, a little longer than it really needed to be, and that's all of them have this in common. And I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I feel like an hour.
Hour 15, hour 20.
Yeah,
I'll
would
give
have
you
been plenty.
2 hour mark. We're like, okay, this isn't fucking Dune 3.
Yeah, and it's what they say about filmmaking: kill your darlings. So the scenes that you've seen are the best, are the ones that are most removable. Really.
Yeah, like that whole scene of him waking up and getting out of we didn't really need that.
Didn't need that.
Yeah, it was very
Didn't need that at
YouTube vlog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
vloggy.
It happens. Yeah, hopefully we'll do a little Generation Iron nattiness coming soon. Maybe the C-Bum doc if we get the release date.
And
Yeah.
the basketball.
What was the other one we saw? The Breaking Olympia from last year. The Phil Heath.
Oh, the real
story.
Phil Heath one. We could. He's
Yeah,
growing
yeah.
on me. Yeah, we could do the real Phil Heath one, the Natty, Generation Iron. Jonathan Majors when it drops, C-Bone when it drops. So stay tuned for a lot of
coming
fitness
down.
content. Yeah, probably the U.S. Olympics, just because I've heard it's so good. I heard there's some really raw interviews. Like I know KD cries in it, and he's kind of known for being not very emotional. So there's probably some good stuff there. Dean, where can they find
Are you
you?
sure it wasn't one of his alt accounts?
It was his
crying?
alt Twitter. Don't hate, dude. I'm a KD fan.
No,
I like it.
I like KD too, but I mean, if you're gonna do that, you can get roasted by it.
I know, but he'll go on his own and roast it too.
because he got caught.
Maybe. But he's been known to like fire back.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like he don't care.
That shit's so
He almost
funny.
fought Chris Paul last night.
Wow. Yeah, he's spicy.
No, I like him.
Yeah, you can find me at DeanStorrs.ck or at Caffeine and Kilos.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Salah Mike. Where you going to find me? 3rd Street Barbell, Sacramento, California. I'll see you there.
You can find me at Sebastian_Brambila on IG.
I am at the Jim McDonald on all the social medias. This show is 50% facts, where percent is a word and 50 is just numbers. 50% facts is a Spreaker Prime podcast in association with iHeartMedia on the Obscure Celebrity Network. And we'll talk to you next time.